So the loser will still have another shot here, and we'll see as we get the picks and bans going. The first, it's going to start out with Liberation X, and they are going to eliminate Kashka.
Kashka is actually a very good ban on part of Liberation X, so they're leaving other heroes like Fortress open because they have the first pick. And Glaive is still open, so Nemesis is going to be forced to either ban one or the other, so Liberation is going to be able to secure themselves one of their comfort picks.
Or Rona, right?
Or Rona, yes.
Yes, don't forget the Rona, right, Hafu?
There she is. There she goes.
Okay,
she
she's
goes.
off the board. Okay, so Liberation X
Do you
will have the
expect a
first
fortress?
pick.
I would like a Fortress, but there's not much left for them after they secure this one pick because only Glaive is left and Nemesis might pick that up like they did last game.
Okay, we'll wait for the pick to come in. It is a Celeste coming off the board for Liberation X.
Exhale. So we saw him play Celeste yesterday, and he did it very well. His positioning was very good throughout the fights, and his stuns were on point also.
So despite their aggression, they'll still be more viable in the late game.
Yes.
With this lineup, Nemesis Hydra now with 2 picks, Glaive
And Fortress. No.
and Arden.
Arden.
Yeah, well, Fortress doesn't have anybody else for Liberation to team up with unless they decide to run like a Jungle Ringo or a Scarf like Vaughn does.
Okay, so that will be, we'll see, it will be Hardic on the Glaive.
Jewel
Now-
Catherine.
And
All right, Jewel Catherine now.
Yeah.
Yes, you saw it there. But real quick, Hardic on the Glaive. We've seen him play a ton of Kashka. What's his Glaive like?
His Glaive is pretty much on par with his Kashka. He's very good with all of his jungle carries. He has the experience where he can dive turrets, he can make those clutch plays, and he can still get out in time.
And that's a really good point. They are such a dive-happy team, but they always seem to make it work. And Hafu, they finish out the classic stuns for days.
Woohoo! It's pretty foolproof once again. Even with the reflex blocks change, even if you're standing in one stun for a second or two, you're gonna take so much damage that it's usually so hard to recover.
Now, Rome, what do you think about Liberation X? Now they have kind of a secondary criteria here. They have to think about executing these chain stuns as opposed to just mauling everybody. How does that work with or against them?
So this is a test of how well they play as a team, like how they synergize and who's doing the shot calling. Pretty much synchronizing these stuns one after the other is going to put Nemesis in a bad spot. With Nemesis picking last and co-eds in lane instead of like maybe a Ringo or a Vox.
And we'll
Or
wait
a
and see.
scarf.
Or a scarf. And why is that a less typical pick for you in this scenario?
Well, I've actually seen him play all those, like pretty much every lane he carry, and he does well with all of them. But this game I suggested that they would want like a laner that is able to rotate a bit faster. And having Vox standing behind Glaive later on in the team fights, they have so much more room to move around. With Scarf, he's actually kind of locked down. So with the chain stunners, if Scarf gets locked down and deleted from the team fight, he doesn't have much chance to run away.
And we saw Fuji in the prior tournament getting isolated on that scarf in that fashion. It's certainly something to watch for there, but he is an excellent farmer, and he's certainly going to be able to farm like a boss on that scarf.
Yeah, look for this game to see like whoever's laner is going to do better. It's going to help them transition a lot into the late game.
Okay, so Hafu, seeing the Stuns for Days comp into a Scarf, Arden, Glaive, is there anything you're going to be looking for when you're seeing how it's going?
They're gonna camp Scarf all day, and they're also gonna try to camp the Celeste. I mean, Glaive, Arden, Scarf versus the Celeste is pretty devastating, but at the same time, a Joel, Catherine, Celeste versus a Scarf, if you get that one stun, that dragon is as good as done.
Okay, so we've seen a lot of rotations, lane into jungle. Maybe the dynamic will shift here, and we'll see a lot of lane ganks coming. Let's find out now and go to this critical match 2 with Vedius and Forecourt Jester.
And we've returned, we're rejuvenated, and we have another game ready to go because not only does Liberation X have a lot to prove under this one, it's just that early game of theirs. It was fantastic, and then it just kind of leveled off. So I think that coming into this one, with this new draft, I'm feeling very confident about it. I'm be very, very happy to see them kind of come back into form on this one.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see XL playing that Celeste again. Yesterday, he did a phenomenal job on that hero. I was really impressed with his positioning and the amount of damage that he was putting out. And we are going to be seeing Status Bake in the jungle once again. He's going to bring out this jewel. Yesterday, as I said, we saw a lot of glaive from him, so I'm interested to see how well he's going to do on this jewel right now. I know he is familiar with the hero, very comfortable on it, so I'm excited to see him bringing out. Stun compositions are one of my favorite, so let's see how easy and, well, how much of a hard time they can give Hardak in this game.
All right, so triple stun coming into this one, ladies and gentlemen, but as we go into the forward, Liberation X now going to be on the left-hand side. It is going to be, of course, XL, Status Baked, and Dawn Eclipse. But on the far side, the guys that are leading this series 1-0 in this best of 3, Nemesis Hydra. They're the kind of guys that we need to really beat. Now, you lose out of this, you're not out of the tournament. There is going to be a lower seed for you, which means you have to play again today. But of course, everybody wants to have that good feeling of a win. And Nemesis Hydra, they're feeling really good about this comp again.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, they are the seed 2 coming into this competition, so you would expect them to be the favorites in this matchup, but there were rays of hope from Liberation X in the last game. So if they can maintain this level of aggression, I wouldn't be surprised to see us go to a Game 3, our first Game 3 of the entire tournament, but we will have to see. Right now, though, Liberation X grouped up as 3.
Yeah, Dawn Eclipse, he's looking to try to get that stun. We don't have that rocket leap there, so it's not going to be a stun train, but XL, he did come down from that lane. He wants to get to that item shop, and the 3-on-2 situation is just too good to pass up. Fortunately, the timing is just not there. Catherine a little bit too far, and now XL back to lane as Dawn Eclipse, Status Bake. They're not going to go for any kind of counter jungle, just going to play it cool for now. We got to get some bigger items under Jules' belt.
Yeah, so right now, Coed's taking advantage of the fact that XL went for an early roam, starting to build up what is a small CS advantage. Is currently sitting on a large sum of gold, as he has not had a chance to go back and buy yet. Notice you can see some early scout traps coming out from XL. Wants to make sure that they can get that early vision down as soon as possible. You have to be wary, seeing as Nemesis Hydra last game were trying to play a little bit aggressive, so getting that vision down as early as they can is definitely something that you want to aim for. So notice as well, Hardak going for a very early bit of armor. And right now, it does look like both teams... Actually, XL hasn't rotated down 3 versus 2 in favor of Nemesis Hydra.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it does not look like the positioning is going to be there. We did actually just shop, though, and with the Coeds now picking up some more weapon damage blades with those weapon blades. He actually has a little bit of shield there as well. Of course, he is against that Celeste, needs to protect himself as a melee laner. He is prone to taking a lot of poke out of that. But XL had already done his shopping. Now Coeds has got his going as well, and now a little bit of a push going now towards Nemesis Hydra. It's still a pretty passive game compared to last round. We had a first blood under a minute.
We certainly did. And that was because Liberation X as a team are known for aggression, aggression, aggression. If you were listening to Rome yesterday, that is what, in the NA scene, Liberation X are renowned for. These guys love to fight in the enemy half of the jungle. They love to have control. With the team composition that they're running, that doesn't really suit their play style, and considering what happened last game, it does make sense they've decided to pull back the reins, considering that their over-aggression was punished a little bit. So right now, things going all right for them, but you have to take into consideration Hardak playing this Scarf. The later the game goes, he's also going to have a large sum of damage. So both teams scale quite well into the mid-late game. A lot of options available for both teams. Hopefully we can see some action kicking off right now.
All right, so the party bush, it looks like it might actually be successful enough. 1 stun into 2. Coeds into the back, just trying to do some peeling here for Hardak, and it's going to be enough. The Scarf picks up that Catherine. She only had those boots ready to go, but they do pay for it with the Arden. Hardak's actually not looking so hot. XL's now going to be in hot pursuit of that one as Status Baked off to the side. They could clean up for an ace this early at the 3-minute mark. Status Bake and crew got to be very happy about that invade. Now with the ace going in, he's going to be looking into the back. There's no... well, the backs weren't there. Fortunately for him, he's going to pick up a little bit more of a bounty.
Well, the triple sum comp, you saw it works fantastically right there. They were easily able to get onto Hardak. They were able to lock him up and take him down almost immediately. So much damage down onto Hardak. This early on, he just does not have the itemization to deal with the pressure that was coming out from Status Bake and XL. Once he was out of the fight, it was just simply a matter of cleaning up. Fantastic play coming out from Liberation X, and this is the aggression that I was expecting from them. A very early ace going in their favor is exactly what we're used to from this team.
All right, so with that ace aside, I mean, the gold situation was actually a little different. We'll have to see if that changes now because we are on parity. But just the pure briefing was just really in favor of Nemesis. Now they're on par with gold. Well, okay, not quite. They did actually get quite a bit there. And as we do keep tussling here into that bush, there's one stun, but we don't have that rocket leap again. So the train is just not going to be pulling into the station here this time. But, you know, Ardek at this rate, if we do go for that leap into the bush, if you thought that maybe Ardek was there, could have been a kill. But now they're going to go for it right under this turret. Not enough. Just the positioning is not there. Hardek will survive, and now Liberation X, they're nowhere near any of their objectives.
But Liberation X are doing a good job of counter-jungling. They're stealing away as much gold and experience as they can.
Oh, Excel, he got caught. He's going to be burning to death on that one. Not entirely too sure what the rest of the team was doing. Looks like they were off in the jungle, but that is not a good payout whatsoever for Liberation X and their efforts.
Well, Liberation X, things were looking good for them, being able to get that counter jungle off, but Coed was doing a good job of stealing away his own jungle camps from the other side of the map, and XL looked like he was trying to do a rotation down to help out his team as they were setting up for that invade. Hardneck and Lost Boy Toff, though, were able to catch him out of position. They're able to get themselves another kill on the board, and they're actually extending their gold lead even further to about 1,000 now. Coed, though, needs to be very careful.
He should have that afterburn if he really needs it, and yeah, it's not really going to be a huge amount of damage that he can sustain at this point. So Excel coming back with a bit of a vengeance, but ultimately nothing really is going to change in that lane for a bit. About 500 gold or so to their names. Now Hardek into that jungle. He is starting to get a few of those items under his belt, some crystal bits, a little bit of armor. Reflex block this early from him, though.
Yeah, a very early reflex block is going to come out. And that is sort of what you expect when you're going up against a triple stun comp. Considering how much damage you're going to be putting out on that Scarf, it's very important that you stay alive and stay crowd control free for as long as possible. Right now, though, both teams are posturing around this gold mine. We are hitting that 6-minute mark. This is a good opportunity to look to potentially contest it. There is quite a large gold payout available for both teams, but because of the poor vision control coming out from either side, it is a bit of a risky decision. XL, though, has been caught.
Yeah, and right into the wall, right into that Scarf. The big fireball goes out, and Scarf takes home not only one, but they're looking for Dawn Eclipse. He's down to about half or so, but it looks like that's where the kill train will end. No big turret pressure to be had, but as you said, there's a big gold payout waiting for the team that can take this gold mine, and it looks like it will go to Nemesis Hydra once more.
Status Bake, though, has something to say about it. Dawn Eclipse is also posturing around.
Yeah, but in a 3v2 situation, they're just trying to delay as much as they can. That's going to be the rocket leap in. It was way too late, and now we have no escape mechanism here. Big red button actually does land on top of 2, but Lost Boy Toff shrugs it off. Hardek now actually in pursuit of Dawn Eclipse as Glaive went off on his own adventure, and now Dawn Eclipse is kind of doing the wild goose chase at this point, wasting as much time of Nemesis as he can. If he could actually use that Stormguard banner to pick up these backs, doesn't get one, perhaps might have gotten the other. Status Bait got out of dodge, no problem, but Hardek's not giving up this chase.
Ooh, Dawn Eclipse tries to go for the steal, isn't quite able to get the counter jungle off, but is also able to escape out of that precarious situation. So nice advantage, well, nice escape coming out from Dawn Eclipse. They do end up losing the gold miner, which means that they are going to lose a little bit of vision. They're going to lose that immense gold payout, which means that Nemesis Hydra are going to extend their gold lead even further. And it does look like that both teams working towards those item spikes. They haven't quite reached them yet. They're waiting for a little bit more gold. But considering the gold difference, it's likely the Nemesis Hydra are going to hit those spikes sooner. They're looking for another fight, though.
And some big blades coming out on the back of this as well. I mean, we are as strong as that we can be. And Nemesis Hydra is up about 2,000 gold or so. This might be even on the kills. But what you do after those kills, what you do in lane, the creep scores have really been telling a different story. But now Coed's, he's saying, all right, this can happen. That's going to be the gauntlet out there as well. Excel's just kind of caught into his own. He has the goop, but there's no fire on it. Big fire breath. They're going to be chasing down Excel, and he's going to be going down. But now Hardek, he has to get back out of the danger zone. Let Lost Boy Top be the front line. Status Bake is actually still quite healthy. And another stun here from Dawn Eclipse. Not quite enough to take him down, but now Coed's thinking maybe we can do this. Does he have that afterburn ready to go? The cleaves are enough. He doesn't even need it. He can even escape with it, but that's a thunder strike to the face now of Scarf and the rocket leap. He's turning this around. That's 2 kills. Now Lost Boy Top, one more thunder strike, and this will be the ace right there, but that's the shield, and it's going to be the dodge. It's not quite Status Bake's day, but he did a heck of a turnaround there.
He definitely did. Status Bake really showing up once again on this duel. Yesterday he did it on the Glaive. Today he's doing it on the duel. Able to turn that fight around after Coed over-aggressed under the turret, which resulted in them giving away 2 free kills.
He's gonna go
but
for
they're
it.
not done yet.
No, that's Celeste. He gets the stun and the Heliogenesis. It's not enough. Where's the Solar Storm? It's on cooldown. So it's just going to be Lost Boy Toff's lucky day.
Yeah, he certainly is. But that exchange right there, the biggest problem I felt for Liberation X was that they were not coordinated with their stuns. You saw Dawn Eclipse moving on to the back line. XL seemed to be focusing a completely different target to Status Bake. And when you're running this triple stun composition, you really need to be tunneling who you're going to focus onto. That's the whole point. You need to shut down Hardek as quickly as possible. Naturally, he has picked up that reflex box, so going for him could be a little bit of a risk, but Coeds is another option available for them to focus. He hasn't really picked up much defensive itemization. He is a very easy target to burst down if they so choose to. There are a number of options available for Liberation X. They just need to be a little bit more coordinated with their target focus. Notice now XL has completed that Eve of Harvest. Sorrowblade has now been picked up for Status Bait. They're reaching these power spikes. They may very well be looking for an engagement as they move into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, I'd say that looking for that engagement is good. The big red button right inside of that gauntlet goes on top of 2, and now Nemesis Hydra, it could actually be facing this ace. Lost Boy Top has to get out of this one, but the Heliogenesis and the Status Baked hero status is just going to be way too much, and that will be the ace at 10-minute mark here. Status Baked and Crew can easily just turn their attention now to the gold mine, and what was a 2,000 gold difference is now turning into the gold advantage for Liberation X.
This was the item power spike that I was talking about. They walked face first into Status Bake and XL once they picked up those major items. They were very easily able to come out ahead in that engagement. Picking up the immense gold payout not only is going to give them a nice chunk of gold, but vision control over the bottom half of the map. This is fantastic from Liberation X. This may very well be our first best of 3 series throughout the entire tournament.
8-5 for the score, but the gold, it's really not that different at this point. The momentum, however, is firmly with Liberation X. They've taken control of the map. They've gotten themselves some good counter jungling. All their turrets are actually still standing. And this comp, you know, that Eve of Harvest, as he said, the power spike coming into it, maybe they're still feeling really good about it, and they're going to be looking for the second. Coeds is going to take a Thunderstrike there to the face, but we do got some Fireball action coming on top of Dawn Eclipse. Now, of course, we do actually have some good kiting maneuvers. We have to see if Nemesis Hydra can use the Warhorn, use the Shiver Steel to get these guys into a good position. But at this point, if Liberation X just hard engages on top of these guys, it has worked out these last few fights.
It definitely has. The biggest thing for Nemesis Hydra right now is that they need to be very careful about their positioning. Lost Boy Toph hasn't had an opportunity to pick himself up a Crucible yet, so Hardek doesn't have quite as much protection as he naturally would. Decided to go for a very early Warhorn and a Shiver Steel, which is a little bit surprising. The Shiver Steel will be good at peeling off the Catherine and the Jewels when they try to set up the engage onto Hardek, but they will not alleviate any of that triple stun threat that is always going to be looking for Hardek's face. So the moment that reflex block is down, he is going to be in a very dangerous situation. With the Warhorn, that kind of suggests to me that they're going to maybe be looking for more engages coming into the future, and I think that's a very risky decision to make, considering the last few engagements, they have not been coming out ahead.
Well, so far, both teams taking a little bit of a break from the bloodshed. We do actually have a gold mine out there. It does have a minion candy on it as well. So Liberation X probably just going to hold that firm and close to their hearts at this point. Dawn Eclipse goes in with the stun, but there's the silence as well. +3 armor to her, but so far nothing else to it. But Coeds goes in. We do got the Fire Breath and the Gauntlet going out there as well. The Rocket Leap goes right over their heads, but it doesn't matter. The Ardent is down. Coeds is not going to get anything out of this either. And now Excel, is he going to live? He won't, but it will be the ace going to Liberation X, and these engages are really starting to show the story of a Liberation X game.
Status Bake did a fantastic job. He saw the Dragon's Breath coming out from Hardek, and the moment it was there, he jumped straight on top of him. He knew that there was no way for Hardek to get out of that situation, and that means Status Bake was just free to throw down as much damage as he wanted onto him. Lost Boy Toph was actually the first one to drop, considering he actually has very few defensive itemizations and has stacked more health than anything else. He's actually surprisingly squishy, so he dropped almost immediately off the back of Exhale, and with Hardek being dealt with Status Bake, with the focus being onto Lost Boy Toph, these fights just keep going in the favor of Liberation X. This is a fantastic performance from them. I'm really amazed as to how they suddenly changed things up coming into Game 2. Game 1, they looked a little bit too aggressive. They were constantly not going for the engagements that they want. Coming into this one, they have completely changed their playstyle. They are playing so much smarter. They know exactly how to execute these team fights, and they are doing a great job at turning this into a full best of 3 series.
We went from a deficit of 2,000 gold now to a surplus of 3. How much longer until that gold mine, well, about a minute or so, but that's going to be some big stuns on top of Coeds. He's going to be all right because Arden is, of course, you know, the big support. He does keep his team alive. We do got some counter poke to going out there, but geez, Celeste is really starting to hit those artillery cannons really well. But 11-6, we are keeping Nemesis Hydra into their base. Kraken is going to be up on deck here in just under a minute, and after that immense gold payout, Liberation X is going to be sitting close to 4,000 gold lead.
They certainly are. Things right now, though, looking very heavily in their favor. They have full control of the jungle, constantly stealing away these camps.
Oh, Coeds wants this. They see Excel. They know that he's alone. Here comes the rest of Status Bake, though, and he jumps in. That's going to be the gauntlet going out there as well. And it doesn't look like Nemesis Hydra can actually finish off these kills. Even with that Dragon's Breath, finally Excel will go down, but it took way too long. Hardek has now been a big target. Do we actually have a Thunderstrike? We do, but Arden's keeping him alive, saving the day. The Rocket Leap on point. They're looking for Coeds. They don't get it. He gets knocked back, and the big red button does not turn this into a favorable situation at all. Nemesis Hydra is now going to be chasing him down with Lost Boy Top. He is in the lead. Coeds is now going to be coming through this. If they do take out this towers, it's a heck of a dive, but they can't do it. They don't have the hit points, and it will not be that ace.
That Frostburn on Hardek did so much work, being able to kite out of that situation with just such a small amount of health, and then Lost Boy Top keeping him alive with that shield was absolutely insane. And to top it all off, Coeds with the afterburn, knocking the enemy team away just as Status Bake was about to use that big red button, really saved them from that team fight. So amazingly well executed from Nemesis Hydra, but the biggest thing was that they picked up their infusions when Liberation X had not. Having that extra damage available to them really swung the fight in their favor, but even with those infusions, it shows how close these team fights really are.
Now, there was a silver lining here for Liberation X. The Kraken did come out, and that was another gold payout to them, so they do maintain that gold lead. It's about 3,000 or so instead of somewhere between 4 and 5, but a heck of a fight coming out there from Nemesis Hydra. And now the Kraken is there. They're going to start it. I'm not entirely too sure that was intentional. Status Bake just going to go real YOLO on top of that one. The big leap in. The Solar Storm doesn't really seem to hit the mark. Here comes the Dragon Breath on top of all three of them, but the Arden is already down. Hardek is now just flailing. He doesn't know where to go. Coed's off to one way. He's going to use the Afterburn. He's going to be all right, but Hardek is not going to be the same kind of story. And a 2-0 for Liberation X. Coeds will survive, but this could absolutely be a turret, a Kraken. It's the whole map now available to Liberation X.
Status Bake just does not have an off button. The moment he sees an enemy target, he just goes for it. He thought that he caught Hardek out of position. He immediately follows onto it with the rocket jump, and that engagement was just fantastic. They recognize at this point that Hardek, only going for the Frostburn, just doesn't really have the damage to swing these team fights around. So it's largely just a factor of ignoring him and concentrating the efforts onto shutting down Coeds. That Solar Storm from XL did so much work to force Lost Boy out from the fight almost immediately, and without that front line available, it made it so easy to get onto the back line of Coeds and Hardek. With Coeds out of the way, it was just simply an easy cleanup. They pick up the Kraken, they're looking to siege and end the game.
Oh, one stun into two, the Silence, and the Solar Storm. It just absolutely deletes the Scarf. No fireballs coming out of that Dragon today, and now Dawn Eclipse is actually still standing right through this turret. The big red button will not yield fruit, but that one little minion has been taking out this tower, and now there's a Kraken pushing down. We will not have that Scarf for this defense, and if you compare Status Baked up against Coeds right now, the damage output is just way too immeasurable. Status Baked is actually sitting at 10-0-3, hasn't died, has all the kills. Glaive, however, will finally take her down. Will take down someone at any rate, but at the same time, with this Kraken pushing, this is a heck of a hard defense because Coeds, he's dropping. That's Celeste now putting out the big damage. Status Baked could even take down Lost Boy Top right here. That's going to be one. The Kraken is still working on top of that turret as well, but it looks like the defense will hold. They get themselves an ace, but that turret, will that actually survive through this Kraken?
I don't think they actually will. It's very likely they do not have the damage right now to deal with that Kraken. That's going to pick up another Void turret, and that means that things are not looking good for Nemesis Hydra right now. Their entire base has been demolished. Only the Vein Crystal is left available to them, and it's just fight after fight after fight going in the favor of Liberation X. Status Bait, his perfect KDA now has been ruined after just staying a little bit too long. My co-caster Jester did say, oh look, he's 10-0-0, boom,
yeah,
immediately died.
My bad,
a little bit unfortunate, but still fantastic performance coming out of him. His positioning, his aggression has been unrelenting, and I hope after watching this Status Bait, it's going to be it's really demonstrating why he is one of the top players in North America, because he is playing out of his mind this game.
Minion mine for minion mine, and you know, I got to give it to the audience. They were a little clairvoyant themselves. They started chanting way back to game number 1 for Status Baked, but this is definitely him coming into his own. 11-1-3 on a Jewel is absolutely hard to deal with at this point. Now, Nemesis Hydra, they're going to be trying to force a fight. If they can pick up this turret, well, the gold is really not that different. That's going to be a gauntlet. 2 stuns on top of not only Bake, but Excel, and now Excel, no big support right here. The big red button and the Solar Storm, that's not enough. Scarf is actually going to drop. Now Excel is actually going to be stuck on by Coeds. 2v2. Here comes the Rocket Leap on top of things as well, and the Arden is going to drop. Coeds just doesn't have the damage to take out Eclipse, or does he? 1 crit, 2 crit. He's going ridiculous. He misses the cleave at the end of it. Afterburn in, he gets a stun. Don Eclipse is just going to survive with the skin of his teeth, but Coeds really bringing the bane on that one and surviving, keeping this team in the fight.
You have to respect the breaking point damage that he was able to pick up on top of the crits that Coeds naturally gets on that glaive. They did not respect the damage that he had available to him, and he was actually able to turn that one around. Coeds wants to show that Nemesis Hydra still have action left, or they still have fuel left in the tank, and that they do not want to give this game up just yet.
1,000 and a 400 in change gold between these teams at the 20-minute mark. Clearly our closest game we've had today. Hardek really needs to pick up with that Eve of Harvest. He does have it now. 5, 7, and 6 on the Little Dragon, but those reflex boxes have not exactly been on point. We have seen him get deleted, and if that happens again, one more time, Nemesis Hydra will be going to a game 3.
Well, right now, Nemesis Hydra just need to keep stalling things out. They need Hardek to get to a point where he's really doing that damage. They're looking for an engagement onto Lost Boy.
Lost Boy's going to use the gauntlet to go over the wall to safety. The gauntlet goes out, though, but he is chased by Status Big. Here's the big red button, the Solar Storm as well. Lost Boy top is still alive. Status Big to the back. He has Coeds on top of him. The cleave is enough. Now Exhale is trying to bring down Lost Boy top, but he's still alive. That Arden is nigh unkillable. Can he do this 1v3? Dawn Eclipse is there, but he's not putting out the damage. It doesn't matter. Excel's going to go down. Lost Boy top is still going to survive. Skin of his teeth. 1 stun and the 2. He actually lives through it all, and that will be an ace. And would you believe that is a kind of a big deal?
Nemesis Hydra turn the game around. Coeds does so much damage now that he's picked up the Sorrow Blade, the Serpent's Mask, the Breaking Point. He just does so much damage with this combination of items. Hardek now having that Eve of Harvest along with the Frostburn means that he's also doing damage, and this is the opportunity for them to turn things around. It's already been talked about how Liberation X have this composition that will naturally get outscaled the longer this game goes, and we have reached that point. They're going to pick up the Kraken. They're going to look to siege onto Liberation X's base. I called maybe a game 3. Looks like Caster Curse is still evident once again.
Well, we should definitely not point out that Status Baked ever goes 10-0 because now he's 12-3. But lots of infusions being picked up. 22 minutes into this one. The goal dead even, but there's a Kraken marching down on 3 turrets here of Liberation X. This is still could go anybody's way. We have no turrets on one side now. A Kraken pushing down 3 on the next. The last few fights have gone to Nemesis Hydra. They have just dominated. Status Baked now trying to make a statement here. He's going on top of Hardek. He is sticking on top of him. Coeds now is into the back there. He is trying to deal on top of Excel, but nobody's going down. The supports are just doing their job really well, but Coeds is able to get it with the stun, with that afterburn, but Status Baked was able to take down Scarf in the return. Now it's Dawn Eclipse and Status Baked, and it looks like we're going to opt for defense because remember, there is a Kraken pushing the base of Liberation X.
So they trade 1 for 1, but Nemesis Hydra is still going to be quite happy with that because of this Titan cracking down onto their base. I don't know if they can clear this. Coeds wants to fight.
Yeah, Coeds saying 1v1 me, bro. Let's do it. Lost Boy top comes in and says, just kidding. Dawn Eclipse now on the defense, but the Kraken is still really healthy. 1 turret down, and they got to make the most of this. There's no Scarf. 25 seconds out, but 20 seconds for Excel as well. The turret is down. This Kraken is still going to go. He's at half health. The crits are amazing, and this cleave, the big red button, Coeds is still standing, but the Kraken is on top of that Vein Crystal, and they are going to seal the deal here at 2-0, or will they? That's only Lost Boy top. There's still a Kraken. I think the Kraken, however, will bring this forward. That ace or no, it's going to come down to the wire. Solar Storm gets thrown down. The Status Baked. They live through it. They take down the Kraken. 1 hit from win.
Liberation X, they managed to hold things off. Listen to that.
It's a race to the other side. There's a Scarf for defense, and that is it.
This game is unbelievable. The death times are still pretty long. Hardek has respawned. Exhale and Dawn Eclipse could be looking to try and turn things around. Remember that there are no Vayne turrets available. They might look to try and end the game themselves.
Minions versus minions. Scarf is there. Exhale's going to go for it. Dawn Eclipse is there. Fireballs and Goop. The big flamer gets stunned. There is no defense here from that Scarf. He's now going to be on top of it with that Jewel. And this Vayne Crystal has no other defenses.
They've done it!
Is